All right, welcome back to the Brad Sessmat Show, and we're going to have a segment that I like to call the Inside Lane. We're going to go inside a little bit of the life and a little bit of the career right now of some of the top racers that hail from the state of Arizona. I'm your host, Devon Henry, and we are going all the way to Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's the big one going on right now. And joining us on the Inside Lane, he is one of only 2 drivers to sweep USAC's prestigious Triple Crown, a multi-time Copper World Classic champion, one of the youngest drivers to qualify for the Indy 500, the 2007 Chili Bowl runner-up, racing for McKinney-Taylor Yeley, driver the number 2J from Phoenix, Arizona. It's JJ Yeley. JJ, thanks for joining me, man.
Thanks for having me. Everything's pretty nice here so far in Tulsa, so we'll hope that it continues along that same path.
Yeah, so the last time I saw you in person at the Chili Bowl, you're driving those 47 cars. Lately, you've been driving the 1ST. Of course, for those of you who have trouble, that's first is what the number is. But now you're the 2JJ. Excuse me for possibly being obvious, but was this someone's idea to play on your JJ name? I'm just curious. I gotta know, man.
It is, and honestly, that was my original. That's been my original number when I was a rookie starting racing in 1991. So it was 2J. Always kind of was that, and when I was a 1ST, I had another partner with the midget that I run here at the Chili Bowl, and I've run that for a number of years. And just drivers always have that that thing where you get a little nervous about and worried about, and we're a little superstitious. So wasn't getting it done. So I thought, I'm going to go back to my original number for the Chili Bowl since it's a car that I own. So back to 2J, which they usually make you run a letter when you have 360 entries. They run out of numbers, so they start issuing you a letter. So like I said, it's great to be at this race. That's obviously this is my 24th attempt at taking home the Golden Driller. I've finished everywhere except for the top of that podium. So that's our goal. We built a new car here. I have the sponsor for my Cup car from Texas Maximum Elevation Off-Road, and just looking to be one better than I've done here previously.
Yeah, back in 2007, you were runner-up to your former NASCAR teammate, Tony Stewart. Now this year, this time around, you just raced last night, 5th place in the Race of Champions. Now it's your qualifying day. It's the big, big day. Thanks for taking the time to join us on your qualifying day. You have 8 career Saturday A-Main appearances. So when you're looking at your qualifying day, what pops out to you as what needs to get done today to get you ready to either go into the alphabet soup or wait all day on Saturday to hop into the A?
Well, usually for me, it's either one or the other. Everything goes like clockwork, and we have a great preliminary night, and everything goes well. Or it seems like I've had more situations where we've gone through the heat race, gone through the qualifier, been one of the top 5 or 6 point getters, and then just get caught up in some kind of mess in the preliminary night feature, and it just it creates issues and puts you back into what happens on Saturday in that alphabet soup. So we've battled electrical issues, motor brakes, and like I said, getting crashed. So sometimes it's a matter of weighing your options. What's the best thing? Is a 6th place finish in your preliminary night? That's obviously going to put you about a B main on Saturday, better than going for it and it going bad and you being in an E main or or maybe even worse. So those are the things I'll have to do as a driver on the fly and make the decision. But last year we just were kind of mediocre, finished 7th. Wasn't what we really wanted. So like I said, I've built a brand new race car to come here this year, and hope that some of the things I've changed are going to, speed me up to where we can put ourselves in contention and try to win.
Now, I constantly try, and I know you do too, PR people for racing, trying to tell people why racing is important. And this Chili Bowl throws people off because I say 360 drivers racing midgets, and they go, what are they racing? I'm like, no, midget race cars. But what is the toughest part? Can you pin down what the hardest part of running against 360 other guys over the span of an entire week? Is there a way to pin down what the most difficult part of this process is at the Chili Bowl Nationals?
It's usually just a matter of kind of either dodging the other competitors or really just trying to outguess the racetrack. And, for whatever reason, the clay here for this event doesn't hold the moisture or give you the grip that it used to. And, I don't know if it's a matter they've mixed some new product in with it, or if it just kind of lost some of that stickiness and is kind of wore out. But for whatever reason, the racetrack continues to kind of change and evolve, and for me, I don't race dirt as often, so it's a matter of kind of leaning back on all the things I used to do, and some of those things work, some of those things don't work. So there's a little bit of trial and experimentation that goes on, which is difficult when you get such a limited amount of laps. So luckily for me, I was able to use last night as kind of a test session and see what we could get going. And like I said, we were coming on strong there. The latter part of the champion race, I missed fourth place by just a few inches, and felt pretty comfortable with the car. So that's the goal here for the rest of the afternoon, is kind of tweak and make some changes and see if I can't find a little extra speed.
Now, when you talk about winners, of course, you swept the USAC Triple Crown Championship, Silver Crown, Midget Sprint Cars all in a single year. But when it comes to the Yeley household, I feel like it might be a little bit of a stronghold trying to figure out who's the best. Your wife is a better half-dash champion. And then your daughter, who did a phenomenal intro of you at Bristol a couple years ago, she was most recently Miss North Carolina preteen as well. And on top of that, she's won a few other competitions, I think, as well. What is the competition like in this household, JJ, trying to be number one?
It's tough. And unfortunately for me, after my wife won the Better Half Dash, the trophy that they presented her with is about 6 feet tall. So, sometimes it pains me when I walk in the house and I see that trophy sitting there, because she does have the biggest trophy in the house. But it's obviously everything's about family, and I think with competition we kind of make ourselves all better. And my daughter's now 13; she plays on our golf team, so we now are playing golf on the regular basis as a family, which is also always a competition. So that's been my life since I was a kid, and that's kind of what drives you to make yourself better. So it's always friendly and good, but it's always exciting at the Yeley household for sure.
Now, I want to reminisce a little bit before we let you go off to your qualifying day. We're almost coming up on the 10-year anniversary of the final race at Manzanita Speedway, one of the most historic tracks in the world, really. And I just want to talk a little bit about Manzanita Speedway. I remember way back when you would like to rip it around there on the half mile every now and again. One day during hot laps, you ripped it a little bit too hard. I think you went over the turn 3 fence and had to outrun the junkyard dogs on the other side of that wall. But coming up on 10 years after Manzanita, you were there for Copper World, you were there for Western Worlds, other races as well. Looking back at Manzanita, what did you learn there, whether it be from your dad, Cactus Jack Yeley, or just racing there in general, that brings you to where you are today?
For all the dirt tracks that I've raced at, around the world, obviously Manzanita, for its time, was, one of those 3 crown jewels. You had Eldora, Knoxville, and Manzanita. And, unfortunately, just, location and issues and growth, it gobbled up Manzanita like it did Ascot and some of the other famous racetracks, which is obviously very disappointing. But it was such a tough racetrack. It was a big, fast half mile, which there's not a lot of those left in the country. And, it was tricky. It had great grip. You had the quarter mile that was a really stellar quarter mile to run as well. But, between the two, and, always made the front straightaway an interesting place to try to get through because of those, the transition between the two. I remember as a kid running around the grandstands at Manzanita when my parents would drop me off where they go to the pits, and, a ton of memories from that place. And, it's, like I said, it's very disappointing that it's now gone. But, I know there's some other great dirt tracks in the area that are thriving now. So, sometimes when one thing goes away, something else pops up, which is good for the racing there in Arizona.
And then one more quick thing to look back on the racing world is mourning on the loss of J.D. Gibbs. Of course, you raced for Joe Gibbs Racing back in NASCAR for a little over a year, and you had interactions with J.D. where you kind of broke into NASCAR. So just tell me a little bit, because I didn't know him or anything, but you hear just phenomenal things about J.D. and what he did for our sport.
No, J.D. was definitely one of the good guys. He always wore a huge smile, and there usually wasn't a lot that got him down. And that kind of personality was definitely infectious to the group and the organization. And obviously, when he told us, or he told everyone of his disease, and he could see the rapid decline in his health. It was just, sometimes you sit there and wonder why something like that could happen to such a great person. But his family, they were great people, and unfortunately they're going to have to get along without him. And he's going to be one of those guys that a lot of people are going to miss. And just kind of a sad situation, but we'll definitely always keep him in our mind and our prayers, and remember the good times that he shared with us.
So before I let you go off to your qualifying day, I want to run a little segment I like to call Quick Time. I'm going to give you some rapid-fire questions. Looking for some rapid-fire answers back. Some of them are factual. Some of them are opinion. You ready, JJ?
Yep, ready to go.
All right, this one might be tough. Favorite racetrack, dirt or pavement? Either or.
It would be dirt.
And then anyone that
Favorite
comes to mind
dirt track?
specifically?
My favorite dirt track is going to be Ventura, California.
Ooh,
ones are left, or maybe, or even like Lima, Ohio. It's just a great little third-mile, high bank, fun place to go. There's a lot of good ones around there, but Ventura has always been one of my favorites.
Love Ventura. So I heard you're a tinkerer when it comes to the race car. How many times have you changed the setup already this weekend?
4.
4 times.
We're going on 5.
You're going on 5 and only one race?
5. and I've only run one race, correct.
All right, last question here. If you can pick any kind of car that you are most comfortable in, the most where you feel behind, or you feel the most at home behind the wheel, what kind of car is that?
It's probably going to be a sprint car.
Sprint car. Yeah, good old times
Absolutely.
back at Manzanita. Good to have you in NASCAR, but it's great to see you back on dirt all the time, JJ. Thanks for joining me here on the Inside Lane.
All right, thank you.
All right, hey, good luck in your qualifying night. Kick some butt for us for Arizona.
All right, you appreciate it very much.